rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events, this is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to American Perspective. I am your host, Rick. Wow, it's been a heck of a couple of weeks for me. I know I haven't been transmitting the last 2 or 3 days, and I'll explain why for those that don't know. I have moved into a new phase in life. My son and his fiance have brought into this world an absolutely beautiful little baby girl. And so I have moved from just being a son and being a father into now being a grandfather. And while I would, like to say that it was, it's a piece of cake. No, unfortunately, for our future daughter-in-law, she is, wow. I recall when my kids were born, and I got to tell you, I mean, I'm just going to say this, and take it however you want. I swear up and down, women are the stronger sex. Stronger, maybe not physically, but definitely from an emotional standpoint, for sure. From a pain standpoint, from, having watched birth twice, and also knowing that the all of what she endured, it was, yeah. I'm just going to tell you, I'm not under any kind of fallacy or falsehood here. Women are definitely the better, as far as that goes, better of the two. I mean, think about this. And this is something that I think a lot of people don't seem to understand. Every role, male or female, you have a specific role in this life. It was God given to you. In terms of what you are supposed to be doing, because I am a Christian, and because Jesus is my Lord and Savior, if you read in the Bible, you'll know that they, man and woman were made, to be a partner. Two halves of essentially the same whole when are brought together by God through marriage. And the purpose, of course, the overall purpose, of course, is to procreate and bring more life into this world. But in order for that to happen, you'll notice that God gave man one task in that particular function. God gave the other partner a huge monumental task. And if you have any question as to whether or not, the quote unquote battle of the sexes or anything along those lines, I'm just going to say, when you hand a woman raw materials, okay, because let's face it, even in today's day and age, there aren't very many men that actually are, bakers, cooks, that kind of stuff. Today's day and age, there are plenty who actually can do it, but realistically, many more women than men actually know how to cook and bake and that kind of stuff. When you hand a woman raw materials, which is essentially what you're doing, literally, in the process, the woman turns those raw materials into something wonderful. God has given the blessing of being able to essentially create life to the woman. And yes, there is a man that needs to be a part of it. There is, biological processes that must be kept into place, but keep this kind of in mind. When you hand a woman a house, she turns it into a home. When you hand a woman a raw, obviously single guy, she turns him into a better version of himself. There is always something, whenever you hand a woman something, it is almost 100% guaranteed that that woman improves upon it and hands it back to you in a much better condition than what you handed over to her. And I would say that that's fairly true across all aspects of life. Because you go and you pick a partner. As a man, you go and you pick your partner. And I can guarantee you this, my wife has done nothing but improve me across the board. She has done nothing but improve me across the board. And granted, I'm just going to be completely clear. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done here. Okay. There's still quite a bit of work here. But the reality of it is, no matter what, whenever you hand a woman something, it's almost guaranteed that she's going to improve it. And I can tell you that from my perspective, one of the greatest things to one of the most, I would say, religious experiences in my life has been the blessing of childbirth. Because again, and this is going to sound a little weird, but all men really do is they hand a woman some genetic material. And next thing you know, you have a complete 100% human form that is returned to you as a father. Now, I can only speak from the side of the man, but to me, birth is just a complete example that we have a God in heaven. Because in Genesis, in the Bible, in Genesis, God basically says, I must make man a partner. I must make man depending upon the translation of the Bible that you get, it's either helper or, partner or something like that. The real translations, the actual translations of the Hebrew word does not translate to what a lot of people mistakenly think is a subservient individual. You're a partner. As two halves that become whole, you are a partner. This is a partnership. And honestly, anybody that tells you, oh, it's a 50-50 is lying to you, because day by day, it's a 60-40, 70-30, 51-49. It is never 100% 50-50. And I guarantee you that when you're ready and you decide, and again, I'm kind of tying this back to birth, but when you're ready and you decide to have children, if you should do so, just remember, men hand over genetic material, and what they receive back from the women is just beyond comprehension. You receive back this beautiful child, male, female, this beautiful child, and for the next lifetime, you will have some of the highest moments of your life. You will have some of the most challenging moments of your life, but the entire ride is nothing more than miraculous. And all I have to say is I am so thankful to God for handing me and giving me Mrs. Whiskey to be able to give me this. I mean, I can't take credit. Honestly, I can't take credit for my kids. I really don't. I mean, there's a lot of people who came up to me in the hospital. They're like, oh, of course, in those times, you always get the people who come up and they're asking you questions like, or they'll say things to you like, oh, how's it feel to be a grandpa? Oh, you're a grandpa now. Isn't that great? Those kinds of things. And then of course it's always like, hey, you do realize that, you raised some wonderful kids. Especially if they know your children. And all I have to say is, you know what, throughout this entire life that I've been on this ride, this roller coaster ride that I've been on, as much as I would love to take credit for all of that, I can't. I cannot take the credit because my wife, Mrs. Whiskey, has done an incredible job. I handed her raw material and she gave me back something that is just beyond words, beyond comprehension in the children that I have, the life that I've had. It's not perfect. It never will be because none of us are. But everything that has occurred that has occurred in my life, I can attribute in some way, shape, or form to my wife. She is just incredible. And if you're lucky enough to find a person like I have, who is essentially your life partner and is able to transform everything they touch into something greater than what you handed them, you are truly blessed by God for all of that. So congratulations, obviously, to my son and his fiancée for a fantastic and beautiful child being brought in this world. And I do look forward. I do look forward to those days where I can actually do, instead of being the one to like handle the mess, to be able to hand the mess off to mom or dad and be like, here you go. But at the same time, I'm also looking forward to creating memories, good memories. And so one of the things that I, of course, all of my grandchildren are gonna end up with a hopefully a good education in terms of the wonderful country that we live in. Yeah, I know it's kind of weird that I'm bringing this in, but here it is. I have a package set and ready for them. It's called The Incredible Adventures of Rush Revere. This is a Rush Limbaugh written kids books, and as you can see, the plastic is still on the box because I haven't opened it, but these are stories of America's founding that are in that are ready for me to read to her. So she is going to get a fantastic education, I hope. And I hope she enjoys, America's founding in the America as much as I do. Anyway, quick note. Apparently one of my Whiskey Warrior P1 children is getting married today, and the wedding is actually starting right now. So I wish them the best for all of them. So anyway, which, by the way, I don't advertise this too much, but I am an ordained minister to be able to do weddings. I had to do it because my kids, or my son wanted me to perform the wedding services, so I was able to go and do that. But anyway, there we go. So that's why I've been off the last couple of days. But I'm back now. Things are going to go the way that they're going to go, and we're going to do what we need to do. So family first. That's the way this program works. You guys all have families. You guys do family first. I encourage that because you do what you got to do for family. And, no skin off my nose. You guys are handing over time to me, which is amazing in and of itself, for that. And so, family first. That's the way it works. All right, let's go ahead and get things kicked off tonight. Tonight we have Bam. That's right. She's at the wedding right now. So maybe this is fate that Bam showed up. Anyway, so let's go ahead. If you are of mine, please stand, remove your hat if you're wearing one like me. Place your hand over your heart and follow along with Bam as she recites the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I thank you, Bam. Hope she's crying. I hope she's, well, not crying, crying happy tears at the wedding. Anyway, I thank you, Bam, for that wonderful rendition of the pledge. If you would like to hear your rendition of the pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself reciting or performing the pledge in your style. Take that audio file, video file, whatever kind of file, attach it to an email, and address it to me. Send it off to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online, and I will get you into the rotation. I have 24 of these. I need 26 by the end of 2026. So if you haven't done it, I'd really appreciate it if you could get those last two in. And if you use your phone to record, you can use what is called the share option. That's the S-H-A-R-E option. And you'll be able to send that off to me, fans, at AmericanPerspective.online. And I will get you into the rotation as soon as possible. All right, tonight's headline sponsor, of course. Yeah, all of the Whiskey Warriors are watching the wedding. It would be nice if you post a link. Maybe I could go and take a look as well. I don't know. If it's private, maybe we shouldn't. But anyway, where was I? Oh, yes, headline sponsor. So here I am wearing the Fat Paws. That's what we call it here, but it's the Liberty Bell. The Liberty Bell, We the People shirt. And, yeah. So, anyway, we call it the Fat Paws because it was Fat Paws' favorite shirt. But you can get yours by heading off to, goodness. See, I'm already screwing up. Anyway. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm really screwing up because it's not showing what I want it to show. Here we go. There it is. TheFlagShirt.com. Head on over to TheFlagShirt.com and get your, take a look at all of their offerings. Men's, women's, made in the USA, kids, accessories, all in the red, white, and blue. Don't forget the America 250 collection for the 250th anniversary of this great country. And right now, they are running a Flag Day sale. You can get up to 50% off select patriotic styles by shopping now. Head on over to TheFlagShirt.com. Pick up your styles. And by the way, if you purchase $75 or more of their product, they will provide you with free shipping. So head on over to TheFlagShirt.com. Check out their Flag Day sale to get up to 50% off select patriotic styles. And if you happen to hit that $75 mark or more, you'll get free shipping. So once again, head on over to TheFlagShirt.com and get yourself patriotized. All right. Well, honestly, I don't know if anybody noticed this, but the White House created, I love they're really trolling everybody. The White House has decided to announce and declassify a whole bunch of things about aliens. And in order to do so, they created an aliens.gov website. Aliens.gov. Here's what it looks like. Ooh, they say they walk among us. For 60 years, the United States government has kept a closely guarded secret. Aliens have been walking among us, living in our neighborhoods, and interacting with us in our daily lives. This sounds like the start to Men in Black. They shopped in the same stores, attended the same classes as our children, and lived seemingly normal human existences. Yeah, this is like the X-Files or something along those lines. And then it goes with one exception. They do not belong here. And they continue. There's a lot more to it. Head on over to aliens.gov and check it out. Because of the fact that they're going on and they talk about countless presidents, congressmen, and senior officials knew exactly what was happening. Instead of protecting American citizens, they chose to cover it up and even accelerate the invasion until one man finally had the courage to tell the truth. Bold, unapologetic, unafraid. President Trump. Yeah, well, okay. So there you go. Now, this is actually a ICE website, but here you can see they have an arrest map where you can go and check out a state and see how many in different places, how many people have been arrested, the criminal charges, the dates that were of the arrests, the countries of origin for those arrests. Yeah, it's kind of fun. Hey, they even have they've got a bunch in Hawaii. Look at that. Hawaii's got a few. And so does Alaska. Alaska has some too. But go and check it out. Aliens.gov. Talk about trolling the leftist lunatics. This is exactly what they do. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And they have them. Pretty much every state has been touched. In some way, it looks like, with the exception of what appears to be Montana. Montana may not have any. Yeah, Montana has absolutely none. But North Dakota has some, South Dakota has some. Yeah, just about everybody. 49 of the 50 states have 49 of the 50 states have something in them. Even Democrat-run states have got arrests and things like that. You think there's a problem with the aliens? Yeah. Well, keep in mind too, don't forget that the number of people that have been arrested and everything, and the number of people that are actually crossing the border is just a start. Trump has closed the border. They have had 12 consecutive months of zero releases into the United States. Border crossings are at an all-time low. Crime across all of these locations is at an all-time low. And it turns out all we needed was a new president. That was it, was a new president. Now, it turns out there's other things as well that have been changing, that all we needed was a new president. Here, for an example, this is the Columbus Circle in Washington, D.C. Take a look at that. It's Columbus Circle under the Biden administration. Look at all that graffiti. Look at all that graffiti. Support for Hamas and Palestinians and free Gaza Gaza, Anyway. Yeah, you remember Biden when he was talking about the border? He was saying, no. Congress needs to act. They need to pass new laws. Well, all we ended up with with a new president who actually enforced the laws that were already on the books, did what he was allowed to do under law, and he closed the border and he cleaned up. Oh, yes, he's cleaned up. Take a look at today in Columbus Circle. Holy smokes. Look at that difference. This was the reopening of the fountain, the Columbus Fountain at Union Station. It's running again. It's cleaned up. It's white. It is a shining example and a demonstration of what can happen when you actually enforce law. That's right. It is absolutely beautiful. It's been cleaned up. It's been refurbished. It's been scrubbed. It's been recreated, reborn. Yeah. And all we needed, and here in America, was a new president. I mean, talk about a differential between what was and what is today. It's amazing what happens when people, actually put their mind to something. Oh, and Donald Trump is not done. Let me explain what's happening here. So Donald Trump commissioned, and they've been doing a lot since January. They've been restoring the military, making trade deals, dragging Venezuelan's dictator into an American courtroom, kicking Iran in the cojones. They also have now indicted, I think his name is Raul Castro. Anyway. But that's not everything. He sent the surge of law enforcement into the nation's capital to clean up the city's crime problem. And, and he also has set people to make the District of Columbia beautiful again, a shining example. The shining city on the hill, shining example of what it should be. Now, not only did he open up the Columbia Fountain at Union Station, but he's also cleaning up the mess of a iconic landmark, the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool. You've seen it in all kinds of movies and TV shows. It is an iconic place to go. I mean, Forrest Gump ran through the waters of the reflecting pool. It's always a place to go. It's on the National Mall. It's where everybody goes. You've seen photos of protests during the 60s. You've seen it in all kinds of different places everywhere. Well, apparently it turned into just a absolute nasty mess. And Donald Trump says, no, we're not going to have that anymore. He drained it, cleaned it, and now he's putting it back even better than what it was when he drained it. And he is putting down what the leftists seem to believe is they think that all he's doing is just repainting the damn thing. No, he actually isn't. It's more than that. Here, the leftists. Right here, this is Getty News. It says, hey, workers are using pressurized hoses to spray blue paint at the bottom of the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool on the National Mall. Well, one of the good things about X is that X has something called community notes. So let's take a look at that. Oh, there it is. It says, no, the blue substance that's being sprayed onto the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool is actually an industrial-grade waterproof coating to prevent leaks. Oh. So he's improving it. Once again, Donald Trump is improving the city of D.C. for his short visit. He's only going to be there for 4 years. He's not, I guarantee you, he is not going to be like Obama and just camp out. It ain't going to happen. At the end of his administration, he is more than likely going to leave D.C. and go back to doing what he was doing before. But, yep, there you go. Even the leftists can't even get that right. Oh, my gosh. Oh, what a mess. What a mess. Yep, they can't even get that right. And Getty Images, by the way, has, they've they got hit with Rapid Response 47. They were quick to explain what's going on there. Rapid Response 47, for those that are not part of X, is the X account for responding to things like this that the president put together. And they basically said it's not paint, morons, which is where the added context came from right there, part of it. Anyway, yeah. You know, you wonder why people are hesitant to believe in what would be standard journalism anymore. Yeah. Nope, not the case. There's no reason to believe any of these things. So, anyway. Donald Trump is improving everything that he is touching. He is making sure that when he leaves, that things are better than when he came in. Now, he's doing so well at this that they're actually now, the mainstream media and some of the others are actually now starting to re-trot out Joe Biden and the whole thing that happened with Joe Biden. They're back to talking about it. It's back in the news. That's right. I would have thought that Joe Biden would have just rode off into the sunset, retired, and, laid in his beach chair in Rehoboth for the rest of his life. But no, his wife had to come back and say, well, the reason why Joe had this disastrous performance at the debate, well, that might have been something other than what you may think it was. So here's Jill in an interview talking about her husband and what the hell happened during the debate. Take a listen.
Were you horrified as you saw it unfold?
I wasn't horrified, I was frightened because I had never, ever seen Joe like that before or since. Never.
Or since?
Yes, or
You've
since.
never seen him like
never.
that?
No.
What happened?
I don't know what happened. I mean, as I watched it, I thought, oh my God, he's having a stroke. And it scared me to death.
But remember when she told him after the debate how great he did?
Oh, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the facts. And let me ask the crowd, what did Trump do? Lie! Yes.
I'm not exactly sure that, which Jill Biden is it? Now, I'm going to be honest with you, and, I always am. But I don't see how she could have thought that he was actually having a stroke and not done anything. At least, called for maybe paramedics or asked the TV people to, back off and so on and so forth. Maybe, ask for a reset, a commercial break so she can maybe get somebody out on stage to check his vitals or whatever. But no, they couldn't do that because if they had, that would have admitted, the fact that he was not that he was essentially non compos mentis, that he was not fit for office. She certainly isn't going to announce that. She certainly isn't going to announce that on the stage. Now, for those that haven't studied history, I'm just going to point something out. There is a story. It was shown in the movie Reagan, which Dennis Quaid plays Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan at the time, when he was going for his second term, was at the time the oldest president ever in history. And when he was preparing for the debate with Walter Mondale, there was some question as to whether or not he was actually going to be able to make it, health-wise. Excuse me. The Reagan preparation during debate prep, he was having problems. He needed to take a break. He seemed weak. He seemed disoriented. He had a hard time reciting stats and figures and all of these things. And so the Reagan election team was a little concerned that Ronald Reagan himself was not going to be able to do very well on the debate stage. And when it came to the night of the debate, Ronald Reagan did what he always did, and it came up with the very famous, you can search for clips on this, but the very famous line that actually won him that debate hands down and made it so that he picked up 49 out of 50 states in that election. The only state that he did not pick up was the state of Minnesota, where Walter Mondale came from. That particular situation in the debate, the moderator asked Ronald Reagan, well, you know, you're the oldest serving president in history. What do you feel that age is an issue, that your age is an issue here? And Ronald Reagan famously shot back and said, well, and I'm paraphrasing here, he says, well, you know, I am not going to exploit for political purposes or any other purpose my opponent's youthful inexperience, essentially turning the tables completely on Walter Mondale. Even Walter Mondale was like laughing at the joke, because Ronald Reagan was very good at doing jokes. He always put jokes in his speeches. He was fantastic at it, oftentimes making them up on his own. And in that particular moment, it turned the entire table on Walter Mondale and made it so that President Reagan was able to, again, sweep 49 out of 50 states. A historic defeat. Joe Biden would never have been able to do that. Never have been able to do that. Well, Donald Trump, being Donald Trump, of course, he took to Truth Social after Joe Biden's comments, that interview, came to light. And in a Truth Social post this morning, Trump pointed to Jill Biden's reported comments that she feared something serious was happening to her husband during that debate. And he says, Jill Biden is now out there finally admitting that she did not know what went wrong with Sleepy Joe during our spectacular and highly rated 2024 presidential debate, where Joe was not exactly performing to the highest level of debate standards. He continues and says she said she thought he was having a stroke and various other really bad things. And then he points out what anybody else would, which is essentially, and yet she never rushed onto the stage to help her troubled husband, as any good wife would do. Yeah. Well, that's the question. That is the question right there. Is why, if she really felt that it's because, let's face it, folks, I mean, I don't know if anybody has seen those commercials. I know that they have. I know there's a lot of those commercials out there talking about, hey, if you have signs of a stroke, get help immediately. If she really thought that he was having a stroke, why would you risk his health? Why would you risk his health? Well, the simple answer is she was not interested in Joe's health. She is only interested in how much power she could maintain, her status in society. That is what she was after. And so, yes, I am calling. I am going to call that out, because to me, there should be nothing. And again, I kind of tie this back to the whole family first thing. There should be nothing that should stop you in any way, shape, or form from protecting family, from making family your first priority over everything else. Well, as we all know, Greg Gutfeld, I'm starting to really like this guy. I think I'm going to have to catch him when he's actually live if I can. But apparently, Greg Gutfeld, well, he loves trolling the Fox News token liberal Jessica Tarlov. Apparently, that was a conversation on The Five here recently. Let's take a listen to what Greg Gutfeld, dropping truth bombs, actually said to Jessica. Take a listen.
What makes this very difficult is it's such an unfair test of elected Democrats, people who work in Washington, rank and file Democrats, people who donate, who care about these election results, because we've already gone through it, right? Went through the 2024 loss, seen all the autopsies now, trying to move on, thinking about who are the candidates best positioned to win these elections, moving past having to talk about sundowning. Well, at least for Joe Biden, we can talk about it for Trump. And then this is back for no reason. He falls asleep all the time. Do not laugh.
You're calling Trump sundowning? That is rich. People know what that means.
I know you don't
That
care.
is a symptom of Alzheimer's. Just to be clear,
just old.
it's like
I'm not that kind of doctor, and Joe Biden isn't that kind of doctor either. Anyway, it feels unfair, essentially, at this point, to the party, that if you want to cement any piece of your husband's legacy, let people move on from this and win some more elections. And then they can point to things and say, like, we're building on the successes that we saw under the Biden administration. That's why we're adding X, Y, or Z thing.
you guys used him as a Trojan horse, and now you're paying for it.
And
he was an
everyone should
empty
eat
white
maggots.
male, an old, empty white male. You foisted on the American public to trick them into thinking they were going to get a moderate president. Instead, you had an empty shell of a demented man who implemented tons of radical BS, and now you're paying the price. I don't sympathize.
You've made that clear in every segment.
She brought it back. She brought it back. And this is just the first excerpt.
Yeah,
Your worst.
Can't wait.
All right, coming up.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's pretty much what they did. And then, of course, don't forget, because, I mean, we can't let them forget. They totally said, well, when Joe Biden was no longer being effective after that disastrous debate that Jill Biden thought that he was having a stroke, they dumped him off the cliff. And they went and grabbed a potentially even worse candidate in Kamala Harris and didn't even bother to have a primary for her. They just installed her. Yeah, the Democrats are getting desperate. The Democrats are totally getting desperate. They are running afraid of all of this. Well, you'll recall that as part of the fear, of course, that they were dealing with Donald Trump was all of the lawfare and everything else that they were going on about this and so on and so forth. Now, you'll recall they raided Mar-a-Lago in the classified documents case that Jack Smith was running out of Florida. And you recall that when the raid happened, there were a lot of questions by me and by a bunch of people. I'm the only one. I'm not the only one. Sorry. I'm not the only one that questioned this. But there was a lot of questions in regards to the warrant that was served at Mar-a-Lago. The warrant itself apparently wasn't all that clear. Now, you'll recall in the Constitution, it clearly states that you have to describe the place. You got to describe what you're looking for. You need to generally describe the place where you think it might be, and then swear under penalty of perjury, whoever the officer is, swear under penalty of perjury that that is the best information that you have at the time. It is to avoid this thing known as a general warrant, which a general warrant would just be like, hey, we don't know what we're looking for. We really don't know where it is, so we're just going to look through everything. And you'll recall at the time of the raid that they were looking through even Melania's underwear drawer for what they were thinking was supposed, alleged classified documents. And they never bothered to question themselves and say, well, wait a minute, the president has the ability to carte blanche whenever he or she chooses to declassify documents. That is one thing that the president has full carte blanche coverage of. And just even we found out later after the raid that the pictures that were taken during the raid of these supposed classified covers that were there, it was found out during the trial that the FBI actually had brought them and staged them. You know, there's just so many problems with this, with everything, all of the lawfare against Trump. It's just amazing. Well, it turns out that even the warrant was questioned by this. Apparently, according to this Just the News article, recently unearthed concerns by key members of the FBI and DOJ about the wisdom and legality. Remember, I questioned the legality. The legality of the Biden Justice Department's raid on Mar-a-Lago could actually bolster the grand jury inquiry into allegations of a decades-long anti-Trump grand conspiracy, which there actually has been. Which is being run out of the Southern District of Florida. Just the News reported in December that FBI agents actually raised repeated concerns about whether or not there was sufficient probable cause to search and raid then former President Donald Trump's Florida resort home. They further reported, Just the News did, earlier this week, that a key DOJ figure, an ally of then Attorney General Merrick Garland, actually raised her own concerns about the raid, including whether or not Trump had, in fact, declassified the documents which the Bureau sought to seize. So in the current grand jury investigation is looking into whether Obama and Biden-era government officials engaged in a conspiracy to weaponize law enforcement and intelligence tools to harm Trump and his followers. Now, you'll remember and you'll recall, just to kind of tie all of this together, you have the supposed phone call that triggered the Georgia elections case brought by Fani Willis that has been testified to as being an illegal phone call. So that was the phone call that kicked everything off. And it was illegal because the person who recorded it was physically in Florida, which is a two-party consent state, when they began recording. For those of you that don't understand, a two-party consent state, which Washington is too, a two-party consent state basically says that, hey, if I'm going to record you, I need to, one, make you aware of the fact that I am recording you, and two, I have to get your permission for me to record you. Ideally, get it on tape. But there has to be consent, meaning that you yourself know that you're being recorded. And if you've ever had any kind of a meeting, from like a Zoom meeting or WebEx, Cisco WebEx, or, Teams meeting, when you start recording, there is a message that comes up on the screen that says, hey, you are being recorded. And by continuing to participate, you are de facto accepting this. And that's to prevent being sued because of these two-party state laws. But that's not only the only thing that happened. You have this, which the warrant itself, in my opinion, was much too general, much too broad. They also reportedly not only went through Melania's underwear drawer, but also went into Barron's room, which why he would even be a part of it or why he would even be on the warrant is beyond me. I mean, this entire thing was a fishing expedition. It's been proven now that the FBI under Jack Smith essentially, fabricated the photos that were supposed to, quote unquote, take Trump down. And now you have even this individual who literally and realistically is a question that should be asked. Hey, you guys, are you sure that he didn't declassify this stuff? Because again, the president doesn't fall under the standard practices of declassification. All the president has to do by action, word, deed, whatever, he can even just think it. Realistically, the way things are set up right now, because he has 100% carte blanche power to go ahead and declassify. If he grabs a document that is classified and he decides to show it to somebody else, well, that action by itself can be considered as a declassification because he is knowingly taking a classified document and showing it to a person who is not read into the program. That would, by de facto standard, declassify the document. And this is part of the problem, was that these concerns were coming through and they were like, well, this is sort of questionable. Yeah. And I actually believe that, again, the warrant was much too broad. I mean, even just the issuance of the warrant itself was really bad because of the fact that the FBI had already been to Mar-a-Lago, found these supposed boxes, knew exactly where they were, actually even told the Secret Service to put them behind a locked door, which the Secret Service complied with. And there was a second visit by the FBI to find out whether or not the recommendations by the original FBI look-see was actually completed, and it was. And yet, the Biden DOJ still decided to swear out a warrant and go in and raid, even though communications had been going back and forth between the legal teams with regards to the Presidential Records Act. Anyway, so yeah, apparently in this email, and Chuck Grassley also pointed out that he has the docs, he shared on X with regards to this. And he basically says that, there's DOJ and FBI documents showing that the FBI did not believe it had probable cause to raid Mar-a-Lago. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche has been ramping up resources both in Florida as well as the nation's capital to help develop the weaponization conspiracy case. It's not a conspiracy. It's weaponization of the federal government against a sitting president. And that happened all the way back to the original Obama Russiagate scandal that was built off a complete lie created by the opposing elections campaign committee from Hillary Clinton. Anyway, so yeah, they Apparently, these documents showed that the FBI in the summer of 2022 raised repeated objections to raiding Mar-a-Lago, warning that agents did not believe the Biden Justice Department had enough evidence to establish probable cause that the then former president had actually broken the law in handling the classified documents, according to these memos that were handed over to Congress in December. So, yeah, here we go. Here's another thing that's just fallen apart in this whole thing. Once again, all we needed was a new president. That's it. Speaking of Todd Blanche, he's making a big splash. Now, keep in mind, Pam Bondi stepped down or was let go, however you want to look at it. But I actually think she, there was a story that was released here recently that she has been diagnosed with, I believe it's like a thyroid cancer. So obviously there was some health issues there. So there you go. Anyway, Todd Blanche has been kicking butt and taking names since he is the acting AG. Apparently, there was a protester here recently who essentially threatened to kill a federal immigration agent's family during a clash that happened outside of Newark's Delaney Hall. And Todd Blanche is saying, yeah, this guy's going to, whoever this person is going to be caught and charged. He goes, that is a federal crime. Not only threatening the ICE officer, but think about how disgusting this individual is by threatening his wife and children with death. He goes, that is disgusting, and we see his face, and I promise you, we will find him, and when we find him, we will arrest him. So, yeah. Here's the video of that right here.
I'll kill your whole family. Your whole family's dead. Come on. Children, your wife, all dead. Put it. My boy, I have your face, motherfucker. You're dead. Dead. Voice to back up and put your stick down, because I'm about that life.
Yeah, these people, I'm telling you, they're disgusting. They are disgusting morons. Well, AG Blanche is also not backing down on some of the fraud indictments that are happening. According to the National Post, AG Blanche confirms that Tim Walz, Tampon Tim himself, and Ilhan Omar are not immune from fraud indictments. So he has actually warned those two officials and other Democrat officials that they could face legal action if there is any complicity or negligence related to the Minnesota's welfare fraud issues that have come up. I mean, this is what it takes. You take a new president, and the new president and everything else beneath him, all of his or her cabinet, make a big difference in it. So in an interview, Blanche confirmed that the Trump administration is willing to arrest elected officials if they are guilty of negligence or complicity with the welfare fraud. He says, here's how we talk about accountability. We talk about arrests, prosecutions, and jail sentences. And that's exactly what we're doing at the Department of Justice. The DOJ was working with other departments and agencies, such as the Department of Homeland Security, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Homeland Security Investigations. Blanche confirmed the DOJ was prepared to arrest even elected politicians, specifically criticizing Democrat Governor Tim Walz and Somali-born Representative Ilhan Omar for obstructing investigations into the welfare fraud in their state. One can only hope that actually happens. Because unfortunately, as of right now, we have so many people. Yeah, electric politicians, I know. They need to be fried. No, I'm just kidding. It's a joke. It's a joke, folks. It was a play. It was a Freudian slip, let's call it. There you go. Anyway, as I was saying, no offense, but I'm just waiting for them to actually happen. Even though I know it may take some time to get there, still would like to see some of these people walked off in cuffs and perp walked. Anyway, that is it for me for this evening. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com. Get yourself an account. It is free. And once you are signed up and signed in, make sure that you search up the American Perspective channel and hit that green follow button to get notified every time that I go live. Also, too, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or a thumb sideways, or at an angle if you're 3 Chevy, across all of my platforms, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, or, of course, the aforementioned Rumble. We will see you tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, or 1 hour later on Saturdays, right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of your evening. Congratulations to Z for her wedding, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great rest of your evening, and good night, everybody.